I'm getting older and it's harder for me to stay asleep at night. I fall asleep and then I wake up 2 hours later. I don't know what to do with myself, so I go play with Facebook and browse around on Amazon. And eventually I get tired enough to go back to sleep sometimes. And I do it again 2 hours later. Well, while I was browsing around, I found an online pharmacy that sold me Ambien without a prescription. And guess what? Ambien works wonderfully. You take it and 8 hours later you wake up refreshed. The directions said, don't resist the initial sleepiness. I was curious to see what that meant. So I took it as directed for the first couple of days, and then the third day I thought, well, I'm going to resist the initial sleepiness and see what happens. What happened was I found myself drooling and talking to myself and staring at the bottom of my laptop screen. And I don't know what happened. I must have gone to bed because I woke up refreshed the next morning and went to work and checked my Facebook, and there was a video of me that I had posted of me with my underwear on my head, talking in a voice like the Kingfisher from Amos and Andy, jumping up and down on my desk and saying, "I's disgusted." Well, and I was talking about politics and whatever people talk about, and by the time I was able to delete this video, it had been shared over 250 times. Then I came home from work and there were a bunch of boxes on my front doorstep with the Amazon label, and I remembered I had accepted a free trial offer for Amazon Prime, but I hadn't used it yet, I thought. Well, apparently I had. And inside these boxes were strange things. The entire Gene Autry DVD collection. Very expensive cookies from Vermont. Sexual lubricants. Cheap copies of expensive vintage watches. And I thought, oh my gosh, hope this is it. And that night I vowed not to take Ambien, and so I didn't, and I didn't sleep very well. I tossed and turned all night, and I kept hearing this whirring noise over the house. Turned out those were drones delivering even more packages with more illogical things inside. I went to work and I was troubled and kept checking my email to see if anything else was in store for me. And when I came home, just after dinner, the doorbell rang. I opened the door, a cab drove away, and there was this middle-aged lady standing in front of me, dressed in clashing polyester patterns. Turns out her name was Ludmila. She was from Latvia, and she had accepted my offer to be her housekeeper, in compensation, room, board, and a very small stipend. Well, I couldn't very well turn her away, so I invited her in. And we talked as best we could, her limited English and my non-existent Latvian. Turns out she has a doctorate in physics and was once the head of a research institute. But there's no work in Latvia now, so she was more than glad to take me on my offer, and so we tried it. And she's actually very easy to get along with. After her chores are done, she reads quietly. We take long walks at sunset. We don't argue because we can't argue about abstractions if we don't speak the language. And, well, I don't need Ambien anymore. Yeah, I sleep very well. So I gave the Ambien away to a coworker. He said he had a problem.